I would like to invite for the healthcare round all the esteemed panelists. We have Dr. K. Hariprasad Garu, Group Chairman, Quality Care India. Dr. Ravindranath Chowdhury, Owner, Global Hospital. Dr. Kurupati Krishnaya, CEO, Baswat Kumar, Indo-American Cancer Hospital. Dr. Guna S. Mupuri, Founder, CEO, Indus Pharma. Dr. Srinivas Chilukuri, Radiation Oncologist, Apollo Hospital. Welcome onto the dais, sir. Dr. Ramesh Kekunaya, Network Director, Technology Innovation Director, the Child Sight Institute, LVPEI. Ram Chilukuri, former founder and CEO, Semantic Bits. Dr. Vishwanath Duputla, Vice President, Biopharma, Innovations and Biomanufacturing, IKP, Knowledge Park, Chenam Valley. I would like to hand over the stage to Dr. K. Hariprasad, the Group Chairman, Quality Care India, who is the chair of this session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. I think Dr. Nageshwar Reddy made the task of this panel very simple and easy, because he dealt with AI in healthcare in a very nice manner, in a detailed manner. So I don't think there's any dispute in terms of what AI is going to do in the future in healthcare. And the time that we spend, I promise that we'll get help in getting back the program on schedule by finishing early. So I think instead of going into the details of the benefits or the applications or the use of AI in healthcare, we have some of the biggest stalwarts in healthcare and tech right here on dais. We would probably be spending the time better if we try and identify the challenges that we're going to face and try and probably suggest some of the solutions for these challenges. And some of the challenges are the data. India has data like no other country has, but it's the quality of data and the way it is collected and the way it is stored. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is the ethics. The third challenge is really the data privacy. We spoke about how some of the most popular and powerful figures in the world's health data is all over the world. So they had data privacy. And then how, in the solutions, how can regulation help? How can collaborations help? And what is to be done to make sure that we maximize the benefits of AI in healthcare? That would be probably the best way to deal with in the next 20-25 minutes as we take this session on. And I'd like to start, request all the panelists to talk about the challenges and also talk a minute about the solution that they feel which would work for these challenges in terms of applying AI and innovation to healthcare. We'll start with Dr. Ravindranath Garu.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers to call for a HealthTech Roundtable, especially J. Chowdhury Garu. Well, I think we are now Global Innovation Hub. We're doing some innovations using AI and all. Biggest challenge is the data. We have 1.4 billion population. The data, data can be a gold mine for the country. And we don't have good data. We don't have EMRs. Many hospitals have a so-called hospital information system where there is a lot of clinical data is missing. We are actually setting up some health exchange on our data to anonymize the data and work with some of the hospitals and we are seeing data is in very, very poor state across even some of the good hospitals also. They may have few data, good quality data, and many other things are missing, like Nageshwar said, family data or family history or previous histories. Many things are missing. Many of them, even if you want to digitize the data, existing data, they're all written in a handwriting. You know, the doctors have the worst handwriting. That's a big challenge. And no matter what, computers and all convert this handwriting also into the digital data. They're finding it very difficult for Indian doctors writing. So I see, at least prospectively, every hospital should take it seriously on data collection, and the doctors also should work together, work with the organization to make data. That is going to be the repository for the future of healthcare in our country. I see that is the biggest challenge. Second is mindset change. Among the doctors, AI, whether we like it or not, is going to play an important role, as whether we are in it or we are out of it. One of the two things is going to happen. We have to do that. That is another challenge we have. I think the Data Privacy Act, I'm hearing that recently there was a act has been done by the central government. There is a lot of stringent rules on that. Again, there is a lot of doubt about who owns the data, whether it is the hospital or a patient owns the data. I understand the patient consent is very important for using the data, according to the recent Data Privacy Act. If that is the case, I don't think we have taken any consent, or we are taking any consent from the patient to use the data. These are all big challenges we have, but AI is going to be a big area to improve the healthcare, not only its efficiency and predictability and precision medicine, personalized medicine. All these things are going to change. The way, as Nageshwar said, somebody may be using a drug once a day. He may not need it. So these are some of the challenges which we'll face once we have genomics and personalized medicine and precision medicine. And again, now we are coming to genomics era. Each patient gives a terabytes of data. How do we store them? How do we use it for analytics? The huge computing power is required, storage required. All these challenges we need to address. And once we address as a nation, I'm telling you, whole world has to depend on many AI models which we train, because we have such a large data on diseases. So I think with this brief, I'll pass it on to next colleague of mine.
Dr. Ravindranath brought up a very important issue that we in India are coming up with this Data Privacy Act, which is passed, and right now rules are being formed for that. So I think if anybody is aware of the act and if they've got some insights into it, I think this would be a great opportunity to give suggestions. On the medical front, what are the suggestions in terms of what could be the rules? How would it help? A lot of these acts which come up, or a lot of these regulations which come up, tend to become roadblocks for development, roadblocks for implementation and innovation. So is there something which, I request you that which we can request the government in terms of forming rules which will facilitate the use of data in a proper manner?
Yeah, certainly, sir. I would like to add one more important thing on the data collection. At this time, the data that is available is only few centers of excellence in an isolated way. The data that is collected in small centers is not going to be all that respectable data. So that's the reason why many of the publications that go from this country are seen with a lot of suspicion. Because if you take a small center and then publish that and saying that this is universally applicable, we tend to be wrong. So my suggestion there is that it got to be some kind of compulsory that all the institutions, all the hospitals must enter into that. For example, in cancer registry, only few hospitals report the incidence of cancer. You know, in a vast population, if you have 10% of them comply with the regulation, and you can't just say that this is what the accurate figures are. So one important ingredient in that is that's mandatory, compulsory, that we have to capture that data. That, unfortunately, at this time, at a very early and primitive stage compared to the many developed nations. Second, on the AI side, I think there's a huge gap between the technology industry and the doctors. It happened many years ago in the developed nations. For example, if you want to develop an operating table in this country, an engineer makes a table. When surgeon comes try to operate, it is no way close to his usage. Whereas elsewhere, there is a close relation, close working together between these two and come out with a better product. That, I think, is just beginning to happening. And same thing in AI and the techie industry. That gap should be really filled shortly. Therefore, we will build up all that robust information and then quality products. Third is the adaptability. Vast majority of the doctors, even youngsters, are reluctant to adopt all this technology. So that again, a lot of things have to be done in that. Unless they go forward. For example, I face a lot of problem in telling doctors to go for electronic medical records. There is so much and inadequate data. And unless in the law it is made as a mandatory that every hospital must comply, it's going to be inadequate data, and therefore the outcome is less respectable kind of information.
Thank you. We have somebody who has just donated his daughter to Dr. Nageshwar Reddy, who can get in a foreign perspective because he comes in from Jamaica and doing a lot of wonderful work there. Dr. Guna.
Good morning, sir, and all the panel members and all the audience here in the ISF network. Thank you again for giving this opportunity. Sir, I have a second bidder for my daughter. Dr. Ravindranath Chaudhary said he will take my daughter with her.
A competition right now.
It's not a competition. I need to tell the audience and all the panel members here, it's such a fortunate day for me in my life. I'm going to say that I'm the youngest of the cohort here because my senior colleague is here. Then my senior colleague is there. He follows him and I follow him. We are from the same school of medicine. Sri Venkateswara Medical College is such a great combination here to have all of us here, 3 generations. So coming back to the discussion here, I'm going to completely divert and I'm going to disrupt this conversation totally completely from what you are talking. I'm going to focus more on AI and AR integration into medical education, not the clinical therapeutics, because I moved away from mainstream medical practice many years ago. My focus is on healthcare and medical education. I came to India in 2003 to establish a medical school, but I got enlightened that we are going back to brick and mortar, the same school, what he studied, and we all studied. So we want to bring some innovation and some disruption in the way of how the art of learning medicine. What we did is, we have amalgamated AI and AR into medical learning. It took 20 years for me from 2003, today is 2024, we are starting our own medical school on this Vijayadashmi, which is another 10 days from now. This school of medicine, I call it as the Tesla of the Caribbean and Central American medical schools because we no longer use human bodies to dissect. Whereas in India, I was at another school on Tuesday, a very famous school in Andhra Pradesh. Babu Maku ikkada dead bodies kodoledanar. The point what I am making here, when the dead body is embalmed for dissection, the arteries, the veins, and the muscle, everything, they lose their real character. What we need to preserve is the real character for the students to learn anatomy from day one. A strong foundation is what I believe in. So I invested heavily into AI and AR. I went to Cleveland Clinic, Case Western Reserve University. I took the IP from them, where my children are going to be using the headgears with an immersive experience. Each lens cost me $4,500. This is what my student is going to use in the classroom along with the lecturer to learn the human body and anatomy. Likewise, we got the world's first virtual dissection table, the size of a dining table. It's an iPad. You can peel from the skin to the bone in a fraction of a second. I can put it back. And you can cut the body 1,000,000 times. And the beauty with that is the integrated learning. What it comes with is you learn the anatomy at the same time, you start the heart beating, you learn the conduction system, you control the ECG, and you read the pathology. So anatomy, physiology, pathology, the basics are there integrated at the same time. So this kind of product, when they come out, they're going to be the real futuristic medical experts. They are going to be geared for the future. So this is what we brought to the table. And now, on top of it, what I want to do is, I want to bring this kind of awareness in India. I was here in July, I gave a few TV shows, how to bring the awareness among the Indian parents especially children going to other countries and getting some degree. No, we don't want some degree. So we're going to do something. We're going to bring this technology-driven medical campus, satellite campus from the Caribbean into India. That's what I'm working on now. That's why I would like to associate with all the experts here. Let's establish a campus and a campus kind of atmosphere here. So we can produce the best doctors in the world. The reason being, we talk about 1.4 billion people in this country. What about in the United States? Prior to the pandemic, Association of American Medical College has produced the data. They needed 29,000 doctors over the next 10 years. But after the pandemic, they need 129,000 doctors. Where would they get from? We need to supply them. So there's a huge demand and supply there. But it's a technology that's going to drive this market. This is where we're into the integration of technology and all these things. This is where I want to speak, emphasis about my own daughter. I did a lab scale experiment with 2 kids. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. And my daughter became the first cohort of students in the world to do AI in medicine at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, where I was formerly a member of the board. And my friend and the Deputy Dean of Medicine, Dr. Rubin Pillai, a 4th generation Indian from Madurai, he collaborated with the Maastricht University in Netherlands. They brought AI into medicine. She became the first batch of students there. So, and she did it in radiology, which Dr. Nagesh Reddy Garu said. And that's where she's heading now, for radiology with AI-driven radiology and interventional radiology. So this is something that we need to take this into the Indian soil. But I cannot speak much on the regulations because I've been away from home for 32 years. But I will follow the footsteps of the leaders like you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guna. You're doing some wonderful work. Congratulations. And Chaudhary Garu, I need to go somewhere else because there's some other event. I just requested Dr. Ravindranath to take over. So thank you so much, sir. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Hariprasad. Well, I think, would you like to add your perspective on the...
Sure, sir. Thank you. I'm an oncologist and I have a small oncology startup in rural Maharashtra. But I'm here in the capacity of an oncologist and a physician, essentially. And I'm sorry to sound a little bit pessimistic. And before I express my pessimism, let me say a disclaimer that I'm a big fan of AI and I am a big user of AI. I'm using some tools to develop AI models. But having said that, we are very, very far away from developing our own models. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be adopting more Western machine learning algorithms rather than our own special clinical decision support system, which Dr. Nagesh Reddy Garu alluded. So most of the models will be Western models unless we develop our own. And how do we develop our own? We need to include our own set of data in tweaking these models to make them better suited for Indian patients. And where does the model come from? Data. And everyone expressed that data is a problem. And I think there needs to be a disruption in data capture. I think we are very, very far away from that. Where do we get data from? The busy practitioners. And where are these busy practitioners sitting in? They could be sitting in a village. They could be sitting in a town. They could be sitting in a hospital. They have no time to enter data electronically except scribble a few things on the paper. So that will take us nowhere. So data capture needs major disruption in India, which is suited for India, Indian markets, Indian doctors. And that I hope some of you bright minds will take this up in a big way. The other point of data capture is also from patient. If the patient volunteers himself to give data to someone, of course that will not be very technically good data, but that is something which we can think of. So basic disruption in data capture, number one. Number two, we have not integrated, we are talking about all these models from big hospitals like AIG, Apollo, Care and other global hospitals, which is nice. But what about majority of Indian healthcare happens in private sectors and in rural areas and informal healthcare sectors, small clinics, nursing homes? Where is the data coming from there? Most of 80% of patients are going there. So I think we need to integrate them into the mainstream, and only then we will have useful data. Apart from AI and healthcare, people talk about moonshots for cancer. As an oncologist, I can say we are, up there comparable to Western democracies, Western economies in terms of the healthcare innovations, etc. But we also lack basic access to healthcare for a lot of rural India. So I feel that I would encourage and motivate, healthcare startups to look at rural India. There are no dearth of patients. There's no need to market your product if you can go to healthcare, to rural areas, because you will be the only one offering some value to a rural population. So I feel, we need to focus there and we need to close that last mile gap. Number three, of course, as we speak, AI is one bit, but we still are importing a large number of healthcare technologies, CT scans, MRIs, linear accelerators. I'll give you an example of linear accelerators. There are about 640 districts in India, and less than 100 districts have a linear accelerator. That means a person who is diagnosed with cancer, 60 to 65% of those patients require radiation therapy. I'm just giving you this as an example. 60 or 6 out of 10 patients or more than that require radiation therapy, and they have to travel to another district or another city to go for this particular treatment for cancer. They will leave their work, spend out of pocket, even though government may be reimbursing or their company may be reimbursing the entire cost of the treatment. He may lose work days. He may have to spend a lot of money out of pocket for food and logistics, stay, etc., etc. So it's a big burden on families to come out of their own locations, homes, to visit other places to go for these treatments. Another problem with treatments for cancer is they are very prolonged. As you know, they may take a few months to complete the treatment, and this puts a big burden. So these machines have to be there closer to their homes in their rural areas. And government, unfortunately, is of course looking at many aspects. But healthcare technologies, most of them we are importing. And government imposes nearly 30 to 40% import duty on all these equipments. And unfortunately, we are not making them in India. So healthcare startups need to make these technologies made in India so that import duty can be avoided. And of course, I urge the government or the policy makers, if someone is here, to ensure that we could reduce the burden, import duty burden, for especially those startups or small hospitals which are focused in rural areas. So these are my suggestions and challenges.
Thank you, Dr. Srinivas. Would you like to give your perspective?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ravindranath and ISF for this opportunity. I work and practice in L.V. Prasad Eye Institute. I completely agree with the point that data is important. More than data, I just thought that typically in India, what happens is, I also worked in in US I was working. In India, typically what happens is, even in district place or even in urban area, doctors who are busy, they get busier and busier and busier. It's not that the other way, because 10 years experience, you become 10% busier, probably 20% at 20 years. So there is no time to look beyond what can be done to our country and our patients. This is not only in one specialty, it happens in every specialty. Suggestion number one is some of the doctors who are interested in AI or product development, we have to invest time. This is most important. It's not possible for all the doctors in India, but whoever can, they have to give that 20% or 10% time to collaborate. Because artificial intelligence, what it makes in simple words is, if Dr. A, Dr. B, Dr. C, some patients always selects Dr. B because he or she is extremely good. After using AI, can I make them equivalent? This is what we should think, so that we can give more time to that doctor and their pattern recognition or the diagnostic ability of that doctor in the future becomes better and better. Obviously, as Dr. Reddy said, human touch still is important. But as a foundation for the future doctors, we can help through this. Most important thing, because in L. Prasad Institute, we adopted this technology innovation close to 11 years ago. We have an AI wing, we have a startup incubator wing, we have an electronic medical record wing, and we have a product development wing. What we learned in the last 10 years is we are making baby steps. We are not there completely like Western hospitals. What we thought is that we have data from electronic medical record. I completely agree. Somebody suggested that the data becomes less and less when you go out of center of excellence. So this data, once we have it, there is something called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So your data has to be varied. For example, I am a pediatric ophthalmologist. We are looking at the prediction pattern of 3 lakh children with myopia. Over 10 years, we have a data. We collaborate with the data scientists. We have in-house engineers as well as data scientists. Sit with them to repair that data or clean up that data. It took 6 months. Now we have a pure 3 lakh children who have myopia. We have seen them for the 10 years. Now, AI is nothing but test, train, and validate. Test, train, validate. All these things are very important. So, finally, I think AI is going to be there, but we have to go through these challenges and come out. It's good. More and more people talk about it. And my only suggestion is collaboration. I cannot become an AI scientist being in medical field for 25 years. Don't take that shortcut. Work with the scientists and data scientists. They will make the job easier. But as doctors, my job is to create that problem statement and improve this collaboration. So more and more startup, both in AI as well as technology development, if we work together, something major will happen. As Mr. Chaudhary Garu said, we can have this in each of those specialties. I am talking about one tiny department or one tiny organ in the body. This is where I think our country should go. More and more these examples we need to speak and implement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramesh. I know, excellent. If there is one institution in this country which adopted AI and discovery, everything, it is the L.V. Prasad Eye Institute in the country. And we all have to be very proud. And there's one institution which can be a role model for the new technologies. It's the L.V. Prasad Eye Institute. And I know so much about the institution. I was on the board for 8 years in the L.V. Prasad. As Ramesh said, it is very important. Each hospital has to store the data, and also we have to collaborate. Just by I think after one more gentleman, we'll have a discussion on AI and technologies and healthcare. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I work at a science park where clinicians, engineers come up with their solutions, and we help them receive funding. Since Dr. Ramesh Kekuni just mentioned about L.V. Prasad, I will take one example how non-invasive detection and AI-based methods can make a great influence. I will talk about 2-3 examples. One example is called pediatric perimeter. It's developed by Dr. Premnandini in their center. So what this does is, just based on the visual perimeter, how the kid is recognizing. I'm talking about, pediatric population. A 3-month baby brain development can be directly correlated and detected, and they have done tested in L.V. Prasad, Visakhapatnam, and multiple centers, and amazing, more than 95% of accuracy. So my suggestion to all the engineers and doctors who are working in this, yes, there are problems from the regulatory side, but actually all these regulatory problems, what we are seeing is opportunity, and the regulator is trying to de-risk all your risk. A doctor or an engineer developing that, if there are no defined rules, it always, the liability comes on to these people. So once these doctors are talking to the regulator very early on, it actually helps them. I will talk about another example. Again, L.V. Prasad Institute helped the engineers who developed this solution. This is called Logi.ai. And 3 state governments do their cataract screening camps, and there is a 30% increase in the patient follow-up. This company is run by 2 young engineers. So what I'm saying is, the minute you start looking at opportunities of scale, earlier they used to do like 200 patients in a camp, and now they're able to do 500. And the good thing is, these engineers are getting paid even by the state government. There is always a perception that the AI is all for private hospitals. Actually, the government clinics and remote rural camps are using these, and they received a 10 million screening patients, and government was very happy because they are seeing the follow-up engagement, and all the data what we are talking is already digitized in these systems. Very simple, image annotation. And good thing is, these scientists have been working, engineers, for last 7 to 8 years, much before all the AI and this came. Another company is again BrainSight AI. Again, amazing engineers and researchers from NIMHANS. My point, every place they always worked with a hospital and a regulator very early on, and they're able to reach the scale. So if you're thinking about any AI-based solutions, start working with regulatory experts and a hospital that can give you a scale. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, after all of them speak, we realize that there is so much opportunity in healthcare for disruption. Healthcare has been actually not adopting all the new technologies for a long time. So we have opportunity to disrupt, and we can do that in India very well at a lower cost, much lower cost. In fact, that is one of the reasons why I started Global Innovation Hub, where we're doing some of them. When we talk to some of our friends and colleagues in US or Europe, I just came back yesterday in Europe on Life Sciences and MedTech conference. There are so many innovations and proof of concepts there. The cost of them taking it to the commercial is very, very high. We can bring them and take them to the, because we have data, if we have a data, we can easily commercialize them. We can train some of the models for India also at a very low cost instead of reinventing the wheel. So there is so much happening across the world which we can adopt. So, and some of our, I've been interacting with IITs and IIITs and Indian Institute of Science and everybody for the last 2 years as pursuit of Global University Foundation. We are all working in silos. Time has come. We need to work together. Whatever ideas you have, identify. Now, I think after today's Nagit's talk and some of the innovations seen in the exhibition, hospitals are also willing to work with all of you, all the young engineers and technologists. We all should work together, and Dr. J. Chaudhary Garu is bringing all of us together through ISF. He wants all of us to work together and disrupt and democratize healthcare. We can bring down the cost of healthcare significantly if we have disruptions and innovations in India. So that is the only way healthcare can be democratized, and we can all work together, and in that way I think we want all of you to ask questions so that we can have a good discussion rather than we talking what we know.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Garu, what I noticed, in fact, the other Dr. Hariprasad also mentioning, most of the people who live in the rural area, I have seen myself, most of the patients, they go to the local RMP doctors. Whatever they say, that's a dictum for them. I mean, they just follow, I don't know, they don't go to the MBBS doctors, MDs and all that. Most of the people, they have more faith or belief, I don't know what it is. But what is happening now in the village, these RMP doctors have got some linkages with some corporate hospitals. They send them whether it is required or not required. By the time they come back with all the tests and all that, they're actually financially ruined. Is there any way in your global innovation hub, what you have started, can we create some kind of a in vernacular languages, an app or whatever easily can be downloadable? Suppose I speak to the app, I am having this problem and these are the whatever the local tests and all that. Immediately you should say that these are the things with you and these are the probably experts nearby. Suppose they are from Anantapur, nearby this thing. So in Bangalore, these are the hospitals, these are the experts, their phone numbers and all that. Is there any way that we can help them and guide them? Otherwise, they're all getting into the financial kind of difficulty. In fact, patient may die, but the entire family is also getting onto the roads. They're becoming beggars because whatever money they've saved is all gone. So is there any way that we can help the rural patients through some technology intervention, through some medical knowledge intervention, Doctor?
Yes, sir. I think it's a great question and great need also in a country like ours. We are working on a model, primary care model, where a lot of work is done by AI and basic doctor, the point of care tests and some of those things. It's still very early stage, and we need some more collaborations in that process. And now a lot of new wearables are coming. It becomes much easier to monitor some of these patients once we have diagnosis. And you don't need to bring them back to the cities and frequently. There is a lot of work to be done in that area. We have started that, creating even for primary health care, we almost created a EMR for primary health center, where with AI, doctor need not interact immediately after the patient goes in. A bot will interact and all the data will be collected, and the previous data also is retrieved, and the doctor needs to spend a quality time with only the patient in the clinic, so that he will have more time to think, and also previous data also comes back in analyzed way with the AI. So these are all in early stages. We are working on many of these things. Hopefully some of these things will be useful for primary care and rural health care, home health care, and also emergency care we are working on something. From the time emergency ambulances will be equipped with EMR and all the AI models, where whatever procedures they do on the way, it will be connected to the hospitals, so that we don't lose the golden hour. So AI based protocols adhered to by the technicians in the ambulance. Right from there, we'll monitor the patient. So some of these things are working on.
Can we take up this as a first ISF committee, whatever we have formed? Can we take up this as a one problem to be solved? We'll bring all the technologies to you, and if we can figure out a startup can be incubated, we can get the funding and see that in a very meaningful way. In the next 1 or 2 years, we are able to solve this and keep on upgrading it so that all the people in different states also will be benefited. Otherwise, they're all getting stuck.
Sure, sir.
And ultimately, hospitals are getting benefited, but poor people are actually they're losing their lives, doctor. I think in the interest of those people, let us take this as a first problem under our ISF committee, and we'll provide a comprehensive solution. Maybe we'll get some funding, some NGOs and all that. Funding should not be a problem, but think about it, and we'll have under your leadership. Let's create.
Sure, I think the rural health. We'll do something on that along with ISF. Yeah. I'll be happy. I'll talk to our team and one of the thing is, not only us, there are many venture studios in the country who are willing to work with all of you. Have a good idea in the healthcare or life sciences, you are welcome to, as we will validate if it is a good one, commercially viable, and is going to impact society. We will definitely be able to help you or ourselves, or we can put you to many other people, or through ISF we can help you to take your idea into a commercial stage. That is something which we are willing to offer you, all of you. Youngsters, please do not think that you are alone. We are all there for you.
Chandrakar, on the same note, vast majority of people in this country do not have access to decent health care, and they are compelled, forced to go and seek this rather unskilled or untrained personnel. Now, health wearables is one area where you can have remote monitoring, and the next level, telemedicine came here a while ago, but unfortunately for various reasons it didn't take off all that well. But COVID-19 gave a push to it. So it is a well-established entity now that you can give a decent medical advice remotely. With advancing in so many variables, the data to the doctor at a remote area is more dependable, more accurate, and therefore it will be a lot cheaper. Because in this country, there is no system like primary, secondary, tertiary care. Many of your patients, what you just said, there are enough statistics to say one unexpected admission can make the patient to either borrow money or sell the assets, tip the balance from reasonably well-to-do to below poverty line. And something like 60 to 70% of patients in this country pay from their pocket. And without knowing where to go, they come to Apollo Hospital for such a minor problem. That division is not there. So, being a tertiary center, the hospital and the doctors would do everything that is available. So, in their part, they're perfectly right, but there is this gap. And your technology can help in deciding the patient where to go and whether to go or not. And many times some automated answers, AI can give that and give the warning when to go and seek the doctor. So that's one thing that we desperately need, and we can certainly lead, and whole developing nations all over the world are really looking at us to come out with that kind of effort. It's very well workable now, and there is enough technology, and all the techies should really focus more on that area. And therefore this remote monitoring is more dependable. The second part is with the aging population, the elderly man and woman regularly need to go to doctor just to check their blood pressure and to get some advice, which is again very, very difficult. A lot of gadgets can be set at home or to the patient, and therefore majority of the times they can get the answers there itself, and only to go to the hospital when it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I think one second. There is a lot to be done in the rural area. That gap between the rural and urban divide, you want to close that. Mobile health, remote health, home health, point of care testing, and we need to capture the data of all these things so that thanks to ABBA, I think ABBA is doing a lot of good work. I think if that health card comes for everyone, like Aadhaar card, I think if they are also giving incentives to the both doctors and even the data companies to 20 rupees per recruitment you do. I heard ABBA is going to give next few months, they're going to spend almost 60-70 crores on that. So there are so many things happening in the country. I know we are all restless and we are all in a hurry that everything should happen overnight. I have come back to India in 1990, where we were in healthcare and where we are today. I think there is a tremendous growth in healthcare delivery outcomes in the country, especially last 2 decades. The total change in healthcare, the way you have the best healthcare available in the country for a fraction of cost, whether it is a cancer, whether it is a heart surgery, whether it is a liver transplant, whether it is a kidney transplant, you have anywhere in the world, 1/10 cost you will get it in India in highest quality. That is something we all have to appreciate. I know we are a large country, 1.4 billion we cannot solve overnight, and also our economy is growing. So I see in the next 10 years our economy grows double or triple. That's where you will have enough money to bridge this gap. In the meantime, we need to do the disruption, technology disruptions with all the younger people. We're all there to help. ISF is there to facilitate. We can probably bring down that time, shrink the time, and rural health becomes better and better as we go along. I don't think we are going to see overnight change. We need to keep debating and disrupting. That is the only way. You want to say something?
Sir, Chaudhary Garu, you made a very thought-provoking suggestion. This is where my headspace is to add, give some validation, which will be for further consideration, if it's all worth it. I would suggest to create an octagon kind of a network. Simply, let's look at a spider web. The way how the spider keeps the dots and keeps weaving it, and you have so many lines. Nowadays, you have so many gadgets that have come. Many of them, they have at home glucometers, blood pressure monitoring kits like that. Not every one of the family in the rural communities are empowered with either the knowledge or the equipment that's desired. What we can do with your initiative through ISF, we can create those kind of dots and weave a network. In every village, there are many gadgets that have come, the painless and needleless. With the touch monitor, it will tell you what's your blood sugar. With the touch, it will tell you what's your blood pressure. With the finger touch, it can also record your ECGs. So that ECG will tell you whether you are having a chest pain that's going towards a heart attack or whatever it is. If we can empower these villages with those 3 devices with touch, that's more than adequate at the early stage for them to know what's going on with that particular product. Mostly, these are chronic illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, and leading to heart attacks and strokes. That's where the focus should be. I mean, you have this one with the AI or the intelligence and or the technology. When they touch it, all these devices must be connected to one nodal point. So that nodal point will relate to another central nodal point as a center of the hub. So in such a way that these nodal points must have a nurse, a public health worker, who can quickly get this, SMS or messages, whatever it is, or WhatsApp. Then they can relate to the doctor who is connected to the network. And also you must provide in those villages, every village must have a center, like you must have a center there where they can go a basic education must be provided to these volunteers in the village. If the recording is saying like an early stage of a heart attack, just give him 4 aspirin tablets, give him 1 clopidogrel or 4 clopidogrel tablets, and calm it down. So this kind of basic education will prevent a lot of deaths, and also this nodal connectivity will bring to the center of excellences like the bigger centers and the bigger institutions. This is something that you can conceptualize and think if it's worth considering. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think we are running out of time. Already we are late. Any 1 or 2 questions? Quick questions, please.
Namaste, sir. My name is Rohan Mantana. First of all, thank you so much for your time and all the valuable insights. Thank you, Guna, sir, for bringing in the education side of AI. We are exactly on that path. We created a virtual patient of a human body for anatomy. And when you brought that up, sir, the first word that came into my mind was not competition, but rather collaboration. And I'd like to thank Chowdhury, sir, and ISF to create that environment here for all of us. So we are also working very closely with IIT Hyderabad to build a conversational AI bot, sir, to basically build a virtual patient that helps medical students to practice their diagnosis, treatment plan, and also build their empathy factor during the conversations. So my question, sir, is now that we have these products, when we go to the market, how do we approach the market? Should it be top-down where we go up and try to convince them to integrate it into the curriculum, or should it be from university to university? So, yeah, that's my question, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Very nice question for the educators. Again, I want to emphasize on a strong foundation. Basics is important. That's why they produce a better experts to go forward. In this case, what I will suggest you is, there are many companies that are doing this kind of simulation labs and all that are extraordinarily expensive, and an average of 1 crore, $250,000. But I will suggest you to go to the startup schools like us. We are a startup now. So the basic schools, and start your product from there, and you build it from there. You can get your value for your product, and that's how you penetrate the market.
Thank you.
If anybody has got 1 more question, then we'll stop there.
Yeah, in fact, for Rohan, my name is Sanjay Gadale, founding CEO of the Center for Climate Change in 2009. And in fact, I miss Hari. Hari is my classmate from school. We have done a lot of other initiatives at the ground level, basically to achieve the ability of healthcare and services to reach to the common man. I'm very happy, Dr. Ramesh. One of the areas that I wanted you to throw some more light on was basically what was done by Prasad to actually reach the ground level through the creation of small distributed field level interventions, which actually used to get combined with what was previously done by EMRI and HMRI. Could you throw some light on what happened over there? That's the first part of my question. For Jay, I would like to share the fact that in our Satyam days, I'm talking about 2000 plus, with Dr. U. Balaji, you would be aware that HMRI and EMRI were 2 big initiatives that actually got medicine in the box, and also created a huge network which has gone up to the state level. However, the focus at that time was social entrepreneurship as well as impact rather than commercialization. My suggestion to all of us is that if we get hold of the old knowledge base that has been acquired in those years, for the various criticalities that were identified in various societies in various states where the project was taken to, both by GVK as well as with the state earlier, we could use many of our AI tools that are now available to us to actually give us some trends. Why I say this is that way back in 2014, I had actually piloted Vinod Khosla's Alive Core product in India by personally taking it to almost 20 to 30 cardiologists for the defibrillation in analysis of the data for various patients to check on the efficacy of that device.
I think please keep it, because
this is the last question.
We're running out of time.
Right. So there are 2 parts of this. My second part is basically something for all of us to just go back and look into our history and start working on that rather than reinventing the wheel.
We'll take it offline.
Yeah?
We'll take it offline.
Sure.
Ramesh,
And the last part is about AliveCore. Basically, that data has now got integrated into your smartwatches and your phones. So technology is at a relentless pace, yes, but simultaneously we should not lose sight of our rearview mirror and learn from our experience and history. Is my suggestion to the August panel over here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very quick, I want to take in centers. How do you connect through, there are doctors there, in-house doctors there are vision technicians there, and for difficult cases we use technology through the teleophthalmology. Every day, 200 patients, they take the picture and then connect to the telecommand center, and then we provide a thing. With that, what has happened is, we know glaucoma is more prevalent in some district of Andhra. Retinal diseases are more. That way we are coming with the rural level data. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
I think Ramesh, excellent. I know the best pyramidal model in our country, any specialty has, it is L.V. Prasad created that. And I think cancer, you can do that, at least in both Telugu states you can do that. There is Basavatarakam, Indo-American Cancer Institute. Krishna is the CEO for that. There are many things we can do. I think together we can all do a lot of things. Disruption is the order of the day. I think ISF is a good platform for all of us to work together and make it great for our future generations. Thank you.
Deepest gratitude to all our esteemed speakers of the HealthTech Roundtable for your valuable insights. Please give them a huge round of applause. To felicitate our distinguished speakers, I would like to have Dr. Jay Chaudhary Garu, founder and chairman of the International Startup Foundation.
Outside of this forum, I just want to suggest to all the ISF members, participants, and audience and media and all the experts, there has been one man who has been doing this relentlessly and selflessly, is Sri Jay Chaudhary Garu. I do not know how to measure on a scale his magnanimity in bringing such kind of forums together. Did we ever think about this gentleman deserves a Padma Vibhushan? Can we initiate a campaign that next year we need to get this for him? Sir, you deserve a national honor. Yes, sir. Please join this campaign.
Thank you very much.